And welcome back to the Showroom Presents. Hydraulic fracking is a controversial topic these days. Proponents say fracking is safe and will free us from foreign oil and coal, while opponents argue the process is laced with toxic chemicals. Joining us today is Chris Faulkner, CEO of Breitling Energy. He's going to discuss the effects of fracking and hopefully dispel some of the myths associated with it. Thank you so much for joining us today, Chris.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, is hydraulic fracking safe?
Yes, it absolutely is. We've been utilizing fracking since 1947. 1.5 million wells have been fracked in this country. And the EPA, the government with all of its resources, has done 3 independent studies and cannot find one example of water contamination from hydraulic fracking. And that's really everyone's biggest concern is, look, you don't want chemicals in your water. I get that. I live in the Barnett Shale, one of the biggest shale gas plays here in the United States. And there's been tens of thousands of wells fracked, and I drink the water every day. Keep in mind, this is not new technology. The industry knows what it's doing with it. And when we go to that water table, it's very shallow, number one. We're fracking 6, 8, 10,000 feet beneath that water aquifer. And to protect that, we set 3 layers of steel pipe and encase those in cement and leave them there permanently so that it protects the water at 3 different levels of backup, if you will, to protect the water aquifer. Because look, what is my reason for contaminating people's drinking water? Could you imagine the conversation if that actually was occurring and that was the case? The whole industry would be turned up on its ear. It's not good for anybody.
What sort of government agencies monitor hydrofracking?
Okay, so right now, hydrofracking is governed by each state individually. Those states are best equipped for their geology, their residents, their citizens. They have been doing that now for 75 plus years. So the states dictate where you can drill, the depth of the water aquifers, the procedures you have to follow to do the fracking or your frac chemical disclosure. Those states are monitoring that, each one on its own. The EPA now at a federal level is looking at adding additional regulation coming from the federal level down on top of what the states are doing. So this is not an unregulated industry by any means. It's been regulated for almost a century by these states.
Well, to take a step back, for those who don't necessarily know as much about hydrofracking, can you give the basics?
Sure. So once we drill the well down, let's just say 7,000 to 8,000 feet beneath the surface, okay, once we complete that horizontal drilling, that lateral area, we come out of the wellbore and we inject a mixture of 99.9% water and sand or a ceramic proppant, along with about 0.5% of chemical, which acts as a lubricant. So once that sand hits the formation at very high pressure, it goes inside, we turn the pressure off, the formation closes back up, and the grains of sand is what's creating the pathway for the trapped oil and gas to migrate to the surface. Without fracking, there's no way that formation on its own can produce oil and gas. It's too tight. It's been trapped in there for 300 plus million years, and fracking is what is allowing us to unlock it. It's a key, if you will, and those little tiny fissures allow for the oil and gas to migrate to the surface, essentially.
Very interesting. Now, a lot of people are very interested in natural gas, but are people aiming to move off of coal altogether?
I think there's definitely a war on coal, and it's just occurred when President Obama put out his climate bill. He set a threshold that these power generation facilities have to meet as far as greenhouse gas emissions, and coal plants do not meet it. Natural gas plants already exceed it. So what we're seeing now, with a target of reducing 30% of our greenhouse gas emissions from power generation by 2030, we've got to remove 46% of the coal power in this country. It's a very, very lofty target to hit. But natural gas today already meets and exceeds the president's standards. So I think what we're going to see, because it's cheap and there's an abundance of it, that this country will move toward natural gas and embrace it for power generation, for transportation, and for a feedstock for manufacturing. We're already seeing jobs and manufacturing plants move back to the U.S. and they're citing cheap and abundant natural gas. So yeah, I think natural gas is going to be the era of today and beyond, for sure.
Now, there's a lot of talk about green energy as well. Out of all the energy sources, which energy source do you think is the most reliable and which do you think is the most green?
I think it's natural gas once again. I think talking about 50% less greenhouse gas emissions that put out versus coal. Most folks will agree coal is considered dirty, right? So people can get behind that idea. I like natural gas because it's clean. We've got a lot of it. And it meets and exceeds the carbon standards. Because of natural gas right now, from power generation already, we've reduced greenhouse gas emissions in this country back to levels we haven't seen in 20 years. Not because of wind and solar, but because of natural gas. And that pattern will continue as long as we keep embracing natural gas for a transportation fuel or a power generation fuel. I think the era of coal is coming to an end. I think most folks will agree that they're going to have significant challenges if they're going to meet the president's thresholds for his climate bill.
Fantastic. If people want to learn more about the new state of energy or anything else about hydrofracking, where can they go?
We have a lot of great educational videos on our website that we've done to let folks kind of take it at their own pace and educate themselves. Great stuff like some of the things you've been seeing. So go to Breitling Energy, BREITLING energy.com.
All right. Chris is the author of The Truth About Fracking. If you want more information about fracking in specific, please check out his book. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris, today here on The Kiosk Presents.
Thank you.
Don, you call that showing off?
How about the dazzling diamond deals we're showing off at the Showroom on Union? Diamond engagement rings.
Diamond band.
Diamond anniversary.
Diamond fashion.
Diamonds, diamonds, and more diamonds.
All at a fraction of the pricey stores.
And buy with confidence because all Showroom diamonds will come with a Gem Lab certificate as requested, guaranteeing natural diamonds of value. Don't forget, we feature GIA certified diamonds.
Showing off great diamonds and great deals every day.
At Airport Plaza Jewelers, the Showroom on Union.